Welcome back, my dear champs. Let us study one of the first elegies, or you can say the first elegy actually written or composed by Lord Alfred Tennyson, the representative poet of Victorian age, that is Break, Break, Break. Though this very particular poem, Break, 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 is actually divided into 4 stanzas, 4 lines each, but the poem can be interpreted in many lines, you can say that. Why? Because that though the poem is a small one, the poem is a small one in length, but holes in it huge, you can say huge emotion or great emotion of the speaker of the poem, that is none other than actually Lord Alfred Tennyson. And these emotions straightway are related to his dear friend Arthur Henry Hallam, who died just at the age of 22. He died actually of cerebral hemorrhage in Vienna. Remember, my dear learner, these facts are very, very important, because many times questions straightway have been asked related to the place of the death of Arthur Henry Hallam and the age of Arthur Henry Hallam. He died. So he died at the age of 22. Place Vienna, Vienna, Vienna. Maybe a little bit mistake in the spelling, but Vienna. Vienna is the name of the place where Tennyson's friend Arthur Henry Hallam died at the age of 22, died of cerebral hemorrhage. He suffered from this disease and died at the age of 22. And his death almost shattered this young poet. He died, remember, in the year 1833. Remember that. And at that time his age was 22. And the death, that sudden shocking death of the young Arthur Henry Hallam, who was at that time engaged to actually Tennyson's sister, shocked him. Not shocked him, you can say that it absolutely shattered him. It shattered him in such a bad manner that he almost drowned himself in the ocean of suffering and sorrow. And the result of that suffering and sorrow is this a beautiful lyric that holds the emotion, or that describes the emotion of Alfred Lord Tennyson. So, dear learner, now let's look at the 4 stanzas of this poem. But before I could straightway ahead and explain you each and every line, first of all, I would like to tell you that this poem is written in 4 stanzas, 4 lines each. It means, which stanza form is used? Quatrain. Quatrain stanza form is used in this very particular poem. The poem is written actually in iambic tetrameter. Tetrameter is generally used Tetrameter means 4 meter. So generally 4 meter is used in the poem. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure, but maybe trimeter is also used. But almost every line is in iambic tetrameter. So just let's have a look. See this. See, the first line is actually break, break, break. Actually, it is in just, it is neither in tetrameter or trimeter. Why? Because only 1.5 feet. 1.5 feet. The length of the line is 1.5 feet or 1.5 meter. Why? Because here one vowel sound, one vowel sound, one vowel sound. So total number of the vowel sound in the first line 3. It means 1.5 meters. But gee, have a look of the second stanza. On, die, old, grey, stones, oh, sea. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what I told you, that the second line of the poem is in iambic tetrameter. So the poem is written in quatrain, just stanza form. Meter used in the poem is iambic tetrameter. Poem is the first elegy. Came or written by Alfred Lord Tennyson or Lord Alfred Tennyson in the year 1833, because this was the year he lost his dear friend, that is Arthur Henry Hallam. He died of cerebral hemorrhage, and the time he died, at that time he was engaged to Tennyson's sister. He was also a budding poet, just like Alfred Lord Tennyson or Lord Alfred Tennyson. So it was obvious that his death was going to shatter this very particular poet, that is Alfred Lord Tennyson. And the result of his death was this poem. And he also wrote a very long poem on the death, or commemorating the memory of his beloved friend, that is In Memoriam, or the Way of the Soul, in the year 1850. Remember, In Memoriam is a collection of 131 poems. 131. Remember this. The total number of the poem, or the total number of the section used in Memoriam is 131, excluding prologue and epilogue. But if you include prologue and epilogue, total number of the just a section 133. So that was also, means In Memoriam was also written actually to commemorate his beloved friend. And that poem actually In Memoriam was so dear to Queen Elizabeth, that she placed the poem next to the Bible and appreciated greatly. So now let's look at this very particular poem and try to understand each and every line. Break, break, break. So see, the first line holds this word break 3 times. Means in the first line we have the repetition of the word break, break, break. And this break, break holds the key, holds the central idea, or holds the central theme of this poem. So If a certain word is repeated, particularly for laying emphasis on a certain emotion or a certain idea, it is called palilogia, Palilogia, or epizexis, 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 palilosia, almost same. So epizexis or palilosia is a kind of figure of speech in which certain word is repeated without without conjunction, particularly to shift emphasis on a certain emotion or a certain idea. So in the first line of the poem, palilosia or epizexis or repetition is used. Here the first break stands for the breaking of the heart of the poet. The heart of the poet is broken. Second break actually stands for the breaking of the waves of the sea. Sea waves actually. Sea waves are breaking. Third, breaking of the faith or breaking of the faith of the people just actually the breaking of the faith of the people in the religion in Victorian age also. So third break stands for that, breaking of the faith or the loss of the faith of the people in the religion because of that masterpiece of Charles Darwin, that is Evolution of Species, in which he directly questioned the existence of the God. So break, break, break on thy yaw, cold grey stones, O sea. So see here the second line makes this very particular point clear, that the poem is a direct address. The first and the second line of the poem is actually a direct address to the sea. It means apostrophe, apostrophe. So apostrophe is also used in the first and in the second line of the poem. Why? Because we can see here the poet who is standing in a church, and that very particular church in which his dear friend is buried, and right in front of him he can see the ocean, he can see the sea, and he can see the waves of the sea rising and breaking, hitting, clashing against the stones, clashing against the stones of multiple colors at the beach, at the seashore. So here's your bidding, you can say that. Here the poet is bidding the sea, actually bidding the sea waves to break against the seashore. And by breaking, actually the waves of the sea, the waves of the sea are actually expressing their pain, expressing their grief, and by doing that they are to some extent trying their level best to relieve themselves of their suffering and actually pain, but the poet is unable to do so. So the first two lines of the poem, first palilosia, epizexis, then since the words are straightway addressed to the sea, it means apostrophe is used. Next, see this, and I would that my tongue could utter. And I would that my tongue could utter means he says, I wish. Here the poet wishes to express his own feelings, his own suffering. But unfortunately, the tongue of the poet means here tongue. Tongue is the tongue part of the body. So part for the whole for the part. Here actually tongue stands for the whole anatomy of human body. But only the part is used. It means scenic dicky. Scenic dicky is used in the third line. So he says that I wish I could express my suffering. I could express my sorrow. That sorrow that is the result of the death, of the untimely death of my dear friend Arthur Henry Hallam, who sat with me and comforted me whenever I found myself in great suffering or in great sorrow. So he says, I wish I could, he says, and I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. So he says, no doubt at all, he is pent up. He's pent up with a high kind of emotion. Means he's full of suffering and sorrow. His heart is, you can say that, his heart is full of sorrow and suffering. But unfortunately, he fails to find an objective correlative. He fails to find a way actually to express his suffering, to express his sorrow, to give a vent to his own, suffering and sorrow, and to feel a little bit relaxed and a little bit light. Now see this, the second stanza of the poem is, see, to some extent we can say that is addressed to a fisherman's boy. The poet can see at the seaside a young lad, a young fisherman boy who is dancing, who is just romping. See this. Oh, well for the fisherman's boy that he shouts with his sisters at play. So here he can see, here the poet can see a fisherman boy at play, means playing with his sister. And how is this fisherman boy expressing his happiness and joy? By shouting. And this fisherman boy is absolutely unaware of the suffering of this poet. He does not know that what a great loss this young poet has suffered. He has suffered a great loss of the life of his beloved friend, that is Arthur Henry Hallam. So on one hand, you can say that the poet actually wants to say that see how that young boy, that fisherman boy, is able to express his happiness by shouting. On the other hand, how helpless this poet is here, that he is absolutely unable to express his sorrow. And we can also say that there is a tinge of jealousy. You can say that. We cannot say straightway, but we can say, we can smell that a little bit of jealousy that this speaker of the poem has for has for this fisherman boy, because the fisherman boy has joy in his own life. He has a reason to be happy and reason to shout, but the poet does not have any reason to be happy. Why? Because he has lost the meaning of his own life. His friend was his world. Since his friend has gone, his world has gone. And to some extent, it won't be wrong to say that he has lost the meaning of the life. Absolutely sad, absolutely melancholic. See that. Now see this, he now talks about the other boy, sailor boy. Oh well for the sailor boatman, lad boy, that he sings in his boat on the bay. Now he can see another boy. This boy is also a boatman's boy, boatman's son, who is sitting in his own boat at the bay and singing. And what does his singing stand for? Or what does his singing actually express? His happiness, his joy. But see, they are capable. Actually, we can also say that the fisherman boy and the boatman boy, they are capable in expressing their joy. But unfortunately, the speaker of the poem is incapable, unable to express his own sufferings, his own pain. His heart is bleeding, but unfortunately, it is almost impossible for him to express it. And if he expresses, maybe it is possible that he may feel better. So see, in the second stanza of the poem, the poet or the speaker of the poem can see a fisherman boy who is shouting at his play with his own sister, and a boatman's son who is in his boat singing and expressing his own happiness. But on the other hand, the poet is unable to express his his own sorrow and suffering. That is the result of the untimely death of his own dear friend, Arthur Henry Hallam. So see that this stanza, I hope, is also clear. Now see the next stanza. And the stately ships go on to their haven under the hill. And now he can see far away how the ships are going in a stately manner. But here his life is not well balanced at all. Means here he also wants to tell us that the death of our near or dear one, by this way or that way, does not affect the things in this very particular world. Means people come, people go, but this world, the affairs of this world go in a usual manner. If you may have read one more beautiful poem from the same poet, that is Brook, B-R-O-O-K, Brook. In that very particular poem, the brook, a small river or a waterfall that is the mouthpiece of the poet, says that men may come, men may go, but I go on forever. So the brook means to say that people in this world will come and go, means they will be born in this world and they will die. All right, their coming and going will will continue, will go on, but their coming and going by no way will affect the flowing of the river. In the same manner, people in this world will be born and die, but neither their birth nor their death somehow this way or that way affect the function of this world. The world goes on and on. The affairs of the world go as usual. The death of a particular person by no way affects the function of the world or the affairs of the world. So the ships are going, and you can say that they are going in a metaphorical sense, mean that just as the ships are going to their actually harbor, in the same, to their haven here means harbor. In the same manner, he means to say that people after their own death go to the heaven. So just as these stately ships are going to their heaven, to their harbor, in the same manner here he means to say that the Holy Spirit or the soul of his own friend would definitely have gone to the heaven. To their heaven under the hill, but oh, for the touch of the vanished hand. So see, touch of the vanished hand here. Hand again, part for the whole for the part. Hand stands for human anatomy, means this human body. This hand stands for Arthur Henry Hallam. He says that the affair of the world is as usual as at the time Hallam was, but now he is gone. But his going, his death by no way has affected the affairs of the world. But his life has come to an standstill. His life, the affairs of his life have come to a standstill. Why? Because it seems to him it is a massive loss of the poet, and the loss is so massive that it has almost finished him. He is missing those days. He is recollecting the memory of those days he spent with his beloved friend, holding his own hand. But that hand is gone. Why? Because his friend is gone forever. See, but oh, for the touch of vanished, disappeared hand. So, synecdoche is used, part for the whole for the part. And the sound of a voice. Voice again stands for the voice of Arthur Henry Hallam. Is still silent. So again, voice here stands for Arthur Henry Hallam, because he is silent, means his speech is silent forever. He is silent forever. Why? Because death has silenced him forever. So again, in the last two lines of the third stanza, we have synecdoche. Again, he is missing. He wants his friend to be back to him. He wants to hear his friend. He wants to feel the hand, or he wants to feel the touch of his own friend. But he knows it is next to impossible. He cannot feel the touch of his own friend. He cannot hear his friend. Why? Because his death has silenced his friend forever. This is a massive loss of the poet. So I hope the third stanza of this poem is also clear to you, my dear learners. One thing you can also say this here, the repetition of O sound. O, then for, then touch, then again O. So see here the repetition of the vowel sound, it means, and that vowel sound, that is a stressed one, that is, yes, stressed vowel sound. It means again we have assonance. Here again you can just sound, O sound, you can say that. Of, voice. Alright, so here assonance is also used, and this line is also clear, this stanza, sorry, is also clear. Now let's look at the last stanza, that is repetition. Break, 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 at the foot of thy crags, O sea. So see here, there is a change. There is a change in the location of the breaking of the waves. See, here he says in the second line of the first stanza, where are the waves of the sea breaking? On the old grey stones, and here at the foot of the sea. Thy crags, O sea. So see, here there is a change. There is a change here in the sea. Means time has become a little bit changed, but there is actually no change in the life of Lord Alfred Tennyson. So there is a change here. Time has changed particularly for the waves of the sea, but no change actually particularly for Alfred or Lord Alfred Tennyson. But the tender grace of the day, those wonderful, beautiful, happy days or moments he spent with his own friends. And those happy moments, happy days are gone forever. But he has the memories of those happy days, and those memories are making him giving him more pain, or those memories are intensifying his suffering, his pain all the more. He says that is death. So he says those days, those moments that I spent with my beloved friend are gone forever. Why? Because my friend is gone forever. Is dead, will never come back to me. And he knows, the poet is sensible enough, though he is drowned in the ocean of suffering, even then he knows that his friend is gone forever and he will never return to him. So I hope, my dear learners, this beautiful just a poem you may have understood. Provided that you find some complications, feel free to write me back. Thank you for watching.